Well, I'm at another fairly high traffic attraction here at Hokitika Gorge, and it's midday, direct sunlight, blue sky. Might not normally be the kind of conditions I would go for, but I'm wondering about this location, if it might actually look best in these conditions. So what it is a section of the river that runs quite deep, and the color of the water is a blue, kind of like, imagine Lake Peyto in Canada, or as a New Zealand reference, Lake Pukaki, except that in this case it's a river, not a lake. So this is a location that you really kind of want to time right to get the color of the water right. It will normally run kind of like a blue raspberry slush and the color of that, but if you time it wrong, and it's been raining, a lot of rain recently, then it's more likely to run gray, and then it's going to look like flowing cement. Not so pretty, but I think that I've timed it right this time, and it's just a matter of whether it looks best in cloudy conditions or direct sun as it is now. I kind of gambled that it might look better in direct sun because the sunlight might make the blue more vibrant. So the problem with shooting here midday on a sunny day is it's going to look like 100 out of tourist shots. So the challenge is going to be, what can I do with it to make it look different? I'm not sure that I can, but I can maybe, because the water doesn't flow fast, there's not much action in it, maybe I can put an ND filter and drag the shutter, make it long, and I guess I just have to try to look for unique compositions. Well, I pity anyone who's colorblind coming here. This is really all about the color. So what I'm going for here is I kind of like how the rocks that are visible on the edge of the stream kind of recede into the depths until they're virtually unseen. And so I'm trying to show that off here. I've had the camera in this spot and I had it over here with that thing in the foreground. So a couple of different compositions here. I'm just not sure which one I like. And I did experiment with shutter speeds. So some without ND filters, and then another one I did with a 10-stop ND filter. And that made this as smooth as glass. So I'm leaning towards the long exposure, but I don't know until I see them in Photoshop. So the question is this location better in direct sunlight, or would it be better if it was cloudy? Of course, if it was cloudy, it'd be a lot more diffused light. And what I don't like is how that cliff is in the shadow there. Very harsh highlights and shadows. But I think, or I suspect, that part of the reason the color is vibrant is because the sun's on it. So what do you want, one or the other? I don't know. Well, I'll be honest, I spent quite a lot of time second guessing my edit on this one. I actually revisited the edit probably 3 or 4 times and still not really fully satisfied with it. But I think a lot of the problem is just wrong time of the day. And there's really only so much you can do with midday direct sunlight. The really easy decision with this one was to select the longer exposure. This is the 30-second exposure with the 10-stop ND filter on it, which really makes the water look nice and smooth for the effect that I was actually envisioning. If you look at the original before the edit, you can see that this rock in the foreground is way overexposed and just too bright. And so I did do a lot of darkening on that to bring it down. The rock face that's just under the water is what originally attracted me to this area. And you can see that I've added quite a lot of tonal contrast and clarity to that area. And if you compare the before and the after, you can see how it's really brought out the detail in that area. I spent quite a lot of time debating about how to crop this image, especially because this foreground rock is just demanding too much attention, I think. I did play around with cropping a little bit more off the top and especially off the bottom, reducing it to here and here for something like this. And I even thought about cropping way in to eliminate that problem completely so that I had something like this. I kind of like this because the bridge is more prominent in the shot and quite nicely positioned, and you can see a lot more of the detail in the water. However, in the end I just kept it like this original crop because I kind of like this curved line in the rock in the foreground, and this is part of what attracted me to this spot in the first place. Well, I think to do this location properly would require quite a lot of research and studying of maps and photo pills and satellite images, just to try and figure out where could you be at what time of the day to get the sunlight coming in at a low angle and to actually still get into the gorge. This spot where I took this photo is actually one of the very few places where you could actually get down to the edge of the river. Everywhere else would have been a major bushwhack and some pretty heavy bush. Although in reviewing the video footage I did see a few places I would have liked to have tried if I had thought of it at the time, so definitely potential for going back there.